Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah.
Nice
Boy, that
one.
feels good.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels good to be playing some of that again.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, you're on.
We're on. The machines are working.
Yep, took a minute to
right.
get there, but
Oh,
we got
yeah.
there
We've
in
had
the
some
end.
machine issues, but we're
Yep.
here now. Walter and I have just been playing for 10 minutes. It's getting down.
Yeah.
Walter, cheers.
Cheers, my brother.
Cheers, my brother. Good to see you, and it's good to get together and play some music
Glad to be
again.
here, my friend.
It's been a little minute, hasn't it, since we did this?
Yeah, a couple of years.
I think the last time I actually saw you was in Florida when we played at the Funky Biscuit, and that's got to be that's got to be
came over
9,
there.
10 months ago, a year ago, or something crazy.
Just about it,
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody to the Quarantini Hour. We've got a few guests here in the audience, and it's about the biggest audience I've played to in 4 months. 4 people.
You're not by yourself, my friend.
And I'm very honored and thrilled to have my old friend Walter come by the studio to hang out for a little bit and play some music. And it's getting hot in here. Can we turn the AC up just a little bit? Or
Yeah.
maybe it's getting hot because I've just
Just
been
be
getting
careful.
down for 10 minutes. The machines are working, and let's pray that they keep working, at least until we get through getting what we're going to do. So how you been, Walter?
I've been all right, Just,
You had a thing with your foot, I heard.
Yeah, I flew around there stupidly.
You were out there
Hit
kicking.
my
You were out
toe.
there kicking
Broke
curbs.
Broke it, bro. Yeah, man. I thank God for the good doctors that helped me to put it back together right.
Cheers to the good doctors.
Yes, indeed.
All the good doctors doing all what they do. Drink to all of them. Well, thank you for coming in.
I appreciate doing this, bro.
Oh, boy, it's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. We've had a few people in, actually, over the last few weeks. Herlin Riley came in.
Oh, no.
Herlin came in, yeah, and we talked a little bit about David Lasty.
Oh, Lord. Them was the days, bro. I'm serious now. You know, Hurling, I love Hurling like a brother, you know. But
He's such
I
a
remember
nice
when
cat,
the cat
such a
couldn't
great
even
player.
play them drums, bro.
I suspect you knew him when he was a little baby.
Oh,
right?
man. Pop used to go get him and bring him when everybody done cleared out the club and let him sit on the drums. He couldn't reach the pip pedal, so he just play with the snare. But after a while, he started getting good, boy. Next thing I heard, man, he was playing drum. Pop said, man, that boy playing drums, man.
He can really play. He's one of the best in town.
Well,
I
you
think.
know, he plays with the soul of what drums are. That's what he plays. You know, he don't just play the drums like rudiment,
Yeah.
like they say
Yeah.
the rudiments and stuff.
Yeah.
He just don't play like that all the time.
No, and I think we were talking about his family.
Yeah. Well, it's like they helped me to grow up. You know?
So tell me about, because I'm curious to know, when you were growing up, who were the people that you heard that first made you? I think all musicians, when they're little, there's a few moments where they hear somebody play and they think, man, that's what I want to do when I grow up.
Well, it's just so happened, bro. Now, if you got the time. Well,
We got plenty of time. Time is all
Let me
we got
explain
right now,
this to
trust
you.
me.
I had a vocal group, spiritual group at one time called the True Love and Folk Gospel Singers. And in the group, I had noticed that a lot of the groups had a guitar player,
Yeah.
you know.
Like
So-
a quartet or something? Or
Huh?
it was a gospel quartet?
Quartet.
Yeah.
And they were True Love and Folk Gospel Singers. And then we had this little cat, Robert Lee, was the lead singer. I didn't know too much about singing at that time. Mostly baritone and, you know, and stuff. So, but nobody in the group wanted to play guitar. So I fooled around there and made me a guitar.
And what year was this? Is in the 60s?
Man, that was so
50s?
far back, bro. I was like 17, 18 years old. You know, I'm 76 now. You know,
Oh,
so
wow. So it's going
that was way back
years.
then. You
Yeah.
know. And you know, I volunteered, and my uncle down the street saw me playing this cigar box with the rubber bands.
Oh, you did that?
he said, "No, Junior, look, I got a guitar you can play, you know." So I didn't know too much about them, you know.
Yeah.
I just knew what they was, you know, and stuff. So I got to playing. I started playing with one finger, you know, because I knew how to tune straight chords, you know. Where you
One finger at a time.
Yeah,
That's
you
how
know
you
what
start
I'm saying,
playing.
right?
That's how
you start, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So after that, man, you know, I went to the studio and I played like that, and I watched this cat playing with all his fingers. And that really tripped me out, bro. I mean, I'm watching this cat make the same chords that I'm making with one finger. He's making with all four, you know. Shit, you know. So I watched him for about an hour. And I went home and I tried to play the chords like he was playing them. Yeah. Didn't sound right, bro. Yeah. So my uncle, so I asked him, I said, man, it don't sound right. I'm playing with all these fingers that I see this cat play. I said, Jenny, you don't have your guitar tuned right.
Oh, it wasn't in tune.
You know, it wasn't tuned right. It was tuned open string.
Oh, wow.
So he helped me to tune it up, you know, and stuff. Man, I hit that first chord, I was sold.
So what were you listening to then? I mean, you obviously had gospel music around you.
Mostly gospel at that time.
Really?
You know.
Were you going out to clubs to hear bands at that age? At sort of 18?
No, it just so happened my cousin used to come home. Caleb, he used to come home with a whole fist of money. Show me 18 there. Look what I made tonight, you know. It's big wow, you know. So it kind of got me interested, you know.
I bet it did.
So, you know, I tried. So it was just so happened me and CP Love tied up.
Oh, that's
got
interesting. I
together.
didn't even...
Yeah. We
I
got
didn't have a
tied up,
connection
and
with
my
him.
dad got us our first gig, very first gig over in Gretna.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was just me and CP and a cat with one bass drum and a snare and one cymbal. You ain't know how to sock cymbal.
No.
So I made $7.
Wow. And you talked about, you mentioned your cousin. We should tell people who are watching who don't realize, but you got some interesting family relations. And your cousin was Ernie Cato.
Yeah, first cousins. Yeah.
And Ernie Cato, for people who don't, because we have people watching this now from all around the world, and a lot of them won't know who Cato is.
Yeah,
And I don't know if there's enough time tonight to even start to describe Ernie Cato.
It would take the whole night.
It'd take the whole night.
The whole night, man. But he actually got me into wanting to play blues.
I bet he did if he came back with a stack of money.
So, from there, I, played and stuff. So it just so happens, God rest his soul, Richard Dixon, Alan Toussaint actually wanted a band behind Lee Dorsey.
Uh-huh.
And he had picked Richard Dixon to play bass. And
I remember Richard Dixon vaguely.
And it just so happens that Dick, he wanted me to get out there. I said, what's going on? He said, you ain't got to do much. You just play chords. And the chords that Lee Dorsey was using at that time on his songs was simple, regular chords. And I said, well, do I have to solo? Because I didn't know nothing about no solo. And he just one little solo that you do in the whole thing is cool, So I said, okay. So I said, first of all, you got to ask my mom. I wasn't a mom, about 19, And so mom agreed, she said, as long as you take care of my son, everything is good. So Lee told him, yeah.
And was Lee a big star at that time?
Well, he had this song, Ride Your Pony Out.
Yeah.
Working in the coal mine, stuff like that. But he have a band.
But he must have been a pretty big
deal
in New Orleans. So, I mean, for your first touring
he was one of the
thing.
big ones up there with Fats and all that.
Yeah, that's a pretty prestigious gig for your first touring experience.
I tell you what, the very first gig I played with Lee Dorsey was at the Apollo Theater.
Were you nervous? I would have been if I was
Oh,
90.
man, was I? Until I met a band that I knew out of Thibodeau.
Uh-huh.
I used to go sit in with them, and when Joe Tex came through, he took the band with him. Joe Tex was looking for a band.
Oh, wow.
Today. So I didn't know what was happening. So, when we got there, here they was all at the same hotel we was staying in, playing at the Apollo Theater.
Uh-huh.
And I had fun for 2 weeks.
Was that the Teresa Hotel?
Yeah. That was the first big hotel, man. I was walking all through that place.
Was that your first time in New York?
Very first.
Was it your first time out in New Orleans?
Very first out of New Orleans.
Boy, what an amazing first touring gig to have. And you played at the Apollo. How did it go? Was it a good gig?
It went fine until one night. One night, I had liked the solo so good, man. I was hollering with that song. Going, All of a sudden, I didn't hear a band. I'm out there just playing my ass off. I didn't hear nothing.
What happened?
King Curtis was the band leader at that time. He had stopped the band.
Why?
Because I was playing too loud.
Oh.
And the kicks was thing. Their guitar player jumped up. I said, what's the matter? Hey, you're playing too damn loud. Oh, I'm sorry. So that was the only real experience I had in the beginning. And I had seen this cat, man. They was playing. See, they did a show. They would do a show before Lee, because Joe Tex was the star.
Yeah.
And Lee Dorsey was co-star. So
Okay.
Lee came on before Joe.
Uh-huh.
So right before Lee, they had another cat. What his name? Billy Stud. Cat that sung like with his tongue. He was before Lee.
Ah, right.
And he stopped the band there.
He stopped them because they were too loud.
And why? You know why he stopped the band?
Why?
Because the trumpet player was blowing the wrong note.
Oh. So you stopped the
He
whole
stopped
band.
the band.
What did
Said,
the
"You
audience?
fired." He looked out in the audience. Is anybody out there got a horn can read? There were about 3 or 4 cats raised there. Hey, come up here. Gave him the sheet of paper.
When was this? It's like around early 60s?
Oh, man, around that time.
Did you tell me one time you played with Little Willie John at the Apollo too?
Well, no, I didn't do that. I met Lil Willie when I was playing with Cato. See, Cato had started a group. That was after I had come back off the road with Lee. And Cato had a group called the Matadors. Cato and the Matadors.
Yeah.
And Chili Powder was the guitar player. But
His
he
name
had
was
to
Chili
go
Powder?
No, Chili Pop.
Oh. I thought you said Chili Powder. That's a good name.
No, Chili Pop, he had to go, he got drafted into the service. So Cato asked me could I play guitar with them.
Yeah.
So I played with them. That's how I met Lil Willie John.
And you met Willie John in New Orleans?
No, in Baton Rouge.
In Baton Rouge, really?
Yeah, we played a gig out there. That cat was great.
Well, I love Little Willie John.
When
I was in your band years ago, I used to ask you about Willie John because we played. Do you still play "Let Them Talk" in your set?
Yeah, every now and then I do it.
What key do you play that in?
G.
You want to play a little bit just for the people? Just give them a little taste of
Yeah,
"Let
go
Them
ahead.
Talk." That's one.
You gonna sing it, huh?
No, you're gonna sing.
Oh. John, I
Maybe
like to
we'll
hear you
share.
sing it.
Maybe we'll share it.
Yeah.
In G.
I think that's G. Listen.
Oh, let me turn this down. This thing's not turned on properly. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
This thing turns itself off if you don't play it for a minute.
Oh, no.
Well, let them talk. If they want to.
Don't you know? Don't you know talk don't bother me.
I want the whole wide world to know oh that I love you so.
Just let them whisper, for they know that one
And know not what's between you and I.
But I'm gonna keep on,
I'm gonna keep on,
keep on,
keep on,
keep on,
keep on loving you.
loving you
Oh, baby, until the day I die. They're trying to break up
They're trying.
our romance, baby. But they don't. No, they don't.
They don't have a chance.
Don't stand a chance. Don't stand a chance. We got a kind of love so strong now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby, and we'll be together from now, from now.
Don't you know? God, all gossip
Idle gossip,
come from the devil workshop.
don't you know the true love,
True love.
true love will make it stop. Now I want the
I want the whole
whole wide world to know, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that I love you so. Go ahead, Walter. They are envious of everything what we do. Well, baby, ain't it wonderful? Yeah.
When you love someone,
When you love someone,
and that
someone
loves
loves you too. Woo, woo. Yeah. And the most amazing thing is we both almost remembered all the words.
almost. Man, it's been a while. It's been a while. But we used that cat, man. He really was a nice dude, man.
He was a nice guy.
Oh man, really.
Earl King told me a funny story one night. He said, Earl King told me Earl and Cato and Jesse Hill
Lord.
were all together out of town somewhere. They were way out of town. They didn't have any money. They didn't have a way of getting home. And little Willie John walked in the joint and said, oh, man, these are my friends from New Orleans. Bartender, give them all a drink. And fellas, help yourself to whatever you want on the menu. Look after. And so they got this big plate of food. They all ate and they had loads of drinks, had a fantastic night. And then right at the end of the evening, all the food's finished, all the drinks gone, most of the people are left. And Earl King looks around and goes, well, where's Willie John? And he said, hold on. And he went out to the restroom and saw Willie John's feet disappearing out the window. Willie John had eaten a big meal, drinking all night, and he'd skipped out and left them with the towel. So, he was a nice guy. Lovely guy, Willie John.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. But that was, he, in them days, bro, you had cats, man, that didn't do anything.
I'm sure.
It's like they had this cat, Al White. I remember this. I had started getting a name in New Orleans at that time. So I used to sing this song, Speak Her Name.
Oh, I don't know that
Walter
one.
Jackson.
Oh, yeah? Oh, Walter Jackson was great.
And so Al White comes up to me and say, hey, bro, you want to make some money? Well, I wasn't doing that. I was playing at the doo-job with the house band at that time, So he said, hey, man, I got this gig, bro. where they got Walter Jackson on the gig. I said, yeah, right. He can't make it. So look, you mind singing Walter Jackson songs? And the only one I know was Speak Her Nice. That's the one. That's the one. I said, yeah, I do. Man, I goes on the gig, gets over, man, everything's cool, bro. So, by me playing with the house, man, most of the artists came to the Dewdrop.
Yeah.
So this particular weekend, Walter Jackson was supposed to be on the gig. I said, oh, man, I get a chance to meet this cat, you know. Man, when I met this cat, I said, I said, man, don't you ever in your whole life ask me to do something like that again. He said, why? What? I said, man, that cat got one leg, man. Yeah, I'm out there talking about I'm Walter Jackson.
Oh, he had you pretending you were Walter Jackson. Yeah. And Walter Jackson's only got one leg.
Just like the cat, you know. See, I got over, but man.
That was kind of a common thing back in the day, wasn't it?
But it was way in the country, bro.
Yeah.
Back in the sticks. You go back and forget the back there.
Yeah. Well, I played a few gigs like that with you back in the day.
Oh, yeah, we did. I
remember playing with you and Johnny. We did the Hollywood Lounge in Raceland, Louisiana.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Back, all of
on those gigs with Johnny, Johnny would drive in his Cadillac. Johnny had a big Cadillac. He'd go in his Cadillac, and we'd go in the station wagon. And we'd have to pick up all the band members first of all. You could never find the Junkyard Dog, the drummer. And we ended up getting there so late that I thought there was going to be a fight in this joint because people were so mad. They'd all paid their money. And we're rolling in like an hour late for the gig, and we're setting up on the stage. And then by the time we started playing, in the first, you handled your business, but you got up there and just won them over in the first 4 bars, and everything was cool. But right up until that moment, I thought we were in trouble.
I can understand.
Yeah, I remember a few gigs like that. So you mentioned being in the house band at the Dewdrop Inn. So tell us, the Dewdrop Inn, for people that are watching, the Dewdrop Inn was a place like no other. I played there with you, but a much later version of the Dewdrop Inn.
Yeah,
that was later. But back in the day, tell us about the Dewdrop Inn and why it was so important.
That was one of the only clubs, white and black was in the same club. You know,
really? And even though that was illegal in those days, wasn't it? It was kind of against the law. But
Frank had a big pull down there.
Yeah, Frank Panier.
Yeah, he had a big pull down there. So it was the only club you could go and play, nightclub, where you had, and especially in the black neighborhood, you know, white tablecloths, you know.
So it was kind of a classy joint.
Oh, definitely classy.
Was it different from like the Club Tijuana or the places where was it more higher class?
It was about the size, almost close to the size of Tips.
Oh, it was? For real?
But you had tables.
Oh, yeah.
You know, candlelight. You know, the only light you really saw was behind the bar or the stage.
So what were some of your best memories of nights at the Dewdrop Inn? Who did you used to go and see at the Dewdrop?
Well, Escarita was the one. Big Joe Turner, Earl, they would play. Benny Spellman, all these cats.
Huey Smith and the Clowns?
Huh?
Huey Smith?
Huey Smith and the Clowns. At that time, when I played with there, the Clowns had left Huey Smith.
Oh.
And they had formed their own group called the TikToks.
Oh, okay. I've heard of the TikToks, yeah.
And I played with them for a while.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever do any gigs with Huey Smith?
Huh?
Did you ever play any gigs with Huey Smith?
I did a couple of gigs with Huey, but Huey mostly didn't play. He let the band play.
I heard that James Rivers was here, and he said when he played in Huey's band, James Booker played.
Yeah.
Huey didn't even play. He didn't even go on the road.
No, he was weird. He was definitely a weird guy.
Strange guy. Good piano player, though.
Who that?
Huey Smith?
Yeah, he was all
had a
right.
style, you know.
Yeah, he had his own style. Well, that was the thing in New Orleans. If you have your own style of music, you get recognized.
Sure.
You know.
Was James Booker around in those days?
He
must be about the same age as you, Booker.
Yeah. James was mostly at the Dewdrop a lot of times.
Yeah.
He actually stayed at the Dewdrop.
And you stayed at the Dewdrop too, didn't you, for a minute?
Yeah, I stayed there 3 days. And man, the first day, it was cool. Really cool. The second day, I goes downstairs and go eat breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. Come back upstairs. The room is full with TVs. Now I don't know where they come from, but the room was full with TVs stacked up on one another.
Uh-huh.
So at that time, I had a cat. I ain't gonna call his name. Staying with me. Come to find out, him and his partners had stole these TVs
Oh, shit.
and
Put
put
them in
them
your
the
room.
So I know I didn't put them in there.
Yeah.
So I thought I said, "Hey man, you got to get this shit out of here." I don't want.
No,
this
you
stuff
don't want
in
to
there, right?
get blamed for that.
No, man, I didn't want it. So that evening, I goes out. Me and John, that's when they formed a group called the TikToks.
Uh-huh.
I went out with them to Baton Rouge to play a gig, and come to find out, we ran out of gas on the way back home.
Oh, no.
And here we on the river road coming from Baton
Ooh,
Rouge.
you're in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere,
That's
man.
country out there.
All the way.
Yeah.
So when I did get to, the TVs was gone. Everyone except for the one that belonged to them.
Yeah.
And I was so glad. See, that third day I was calling my mom. Hey, Mom, look, I'm coming back. I can't stay here no longer,
Because the Dewdrop Inn, that was like a gig. It was a big place, wasn't it? They had a restaurant in there, and they had
Restaurant.
rooms upstairs.
And
And
a
Ray
barber
Charles
shop.
actually lived at the Dewdrop for quite a long time.
Who?
Ray Charles.
Yeah, he did pass through. I wasn't there when he did.
No.
I wasn't there. I came later.
Mm.
There,
When you started doing regular gigs with you, when did you put your first band together?
Well, I
You talked
started
about-
putting my first band together when me and Wilbert started playing together.
All right, so now we've got to explain to people about Wilbert Arnold.
That was my drummer. He was a drummer that I created.
He was your monster.
The monster of monsters, man. I'm telling you.
He was the
I
drum-
had Wilbert. If he was living here today, he would tell you.
Yeah.
I had Wilbert picking up. They got these concrete blocks so big
Yeah.
with a rod handle in it.
Yeah.
I had Wilbert picking them up 10 each time. Also picking them up with his leg.
As part of the training for his
while he
drumming.
trained.
Wow. This drummer, well, actually, when I joined your band, it was Van Odom and Harold Scott.
Mhm.
When I first joined your band, when we used to
Yeah.
play at Doris's.
Mhm.
And then shortly after that, I guess you must have fired Wilbert at one point and then hired him back again. or
Yeah,
something.
and I fired him a couple of times.
This guy was so
A
crazy.
couple of times.
I loved him. I loved Wilbert.
Yeah,
In fact, actually, funny enough, one time when you all were in Switzerland, my dad, who's probably watching this, came out to hang out with you all, and him and Wilbert went out drinking. And then Wilbert, every time after that, I'd see Wilbert, he said, "Bro, I ain't gonna hang with your pup no more."
yeah,
They got
Wilbert
into all
could
kind
play,
of-
but
He was
I think
a
his dad
wild
took him
man.
over.
He was a wild man, and he had a unique style of drumming. An amazing drummer, complete
I'm saying.
maniac, but he had an amazing style of drumming that was like nobody else. And New Orleans is full of very unique drummers, but he really stood out in my mind.
Well, Wilbert played trumpet before he played.
Did he? I
drums.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a trumpet player.
Really? I had no idea. Wow.
He said he didn't like it. He just didn't like it. But he wanted to play drums, and he knew a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And it would just so happens, before I had him in training, I was playing with the FBs.
That's the All Fools band.
All Fools Band. Boy, I'll never forget that group, man. That was the first real band that I had control of, but I wasn't the band leader.
Oh, I thought that was your band. I thought
No,
that
it
was
wasn't it was Tom Ellis' band.
Oh, I don't know who that
Yeah,
is.
he was the drummer
Ah.
of the band,
And what's the Solar System band? Because I
Solar
think that was
System
still
was-
on the posters when I
Yeah,
joined your
yeah,
band.
well,
The
that
posters
was
still-
a different. I was trying a lot of bands out of at that time,
Uh-huh.
and it just so happened these cats, they really, they seemed like they wanted to play my style of music,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And it came up to that point where, I enjoyed being able to actually do it. That's when I decided I wanted to leave the AFBs when Wilbur came.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, Wilbur was the equipment man with the band.
For real?
Yeah, he was the equipment man, and he would play the tambourine, and stuff like that. And he kept begging me to play, man. Let me play drum. Let me play. Man, I don't know if you can play or not. No, bro. So it just so happens that one night, see, the drummer, Tom was a left-handed drummer, and Wilbur was left-handed. So we got to playing this song called "Pick Up the Pieces."
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of it, they got this drummer that takes a solo.
Yeah.
So we playing that song, man. And when it got to that point, they switched. Wilbur got on the drums, and Tom started playing the tambourine. So I'm listening to it. I said, man, hey, Tom, go ahead, you learn something new. And I looked back there. That was Wilbur on the drums. So I told the cast when the gig was over, I said, look, bro, I'm quitting. He said, oh, man, come on, don't quit. I said, no, I found my drummer. So
that was the
that's
night,
when I started showing Wilbur what I
wow.
wanted. And then plus, he stayed about 3 blocks from me, So
that was uptown, huh? You lived uptown?
No, I was downtown, the 7th Ward.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. He stayed on Derby Street, and I stayed on St. Anthony Street.
Oh, okay.
So he'd come down, or I'd go down by his house and stuff. So that's how the solar system. We met this cat, Bambi. And he started playing with us, bass player. And then I had, after Bambi stopped, that's when I got Jack. Brat. Brat was the bass player at that time. And I had a guitar player called Elijah playing rhythm guitar with me.
And where would you play? Was that when you started playing at Dorothy's first of all?
That was after, yeah. Well, that was the last gig I played with the solar system.
I got to take a little stop here because I showed you this earlier and I want to show the people. This is when I first started playing with you. And it was probably about 1986. Because Walter and I met at Benny's Bar one night. I was playing with Sam McLean.
Yeah.
And you came in, and everybody's heads turned. I mean, everyone was going, wow, it's the Wolfman. And you came and sat in, and you and I started, it was uncanny because we started going, we were playing the same chords.
Yeah.
It was like we were reading each other's minds.
Yeah.
And then afterwards we went out and sat in the car, and you said, right, listen, man, I need you to come make this little gig with me on Friday and Saturday with Johnny Adams at Dorothy's Medallion Lounge. And I was delighted. I was very excited about this. And I'll just tell you this because it's kind of funny. I was really wanting to make a good impression on you.
Yeah.
So I think I'll get there early. I'll get there to the gig early. In New Orleans at that time, most gigs started about 10 o'clock at night. So I got there. I didn't have a car. I had to get a taxi, and I had a Wurlitzer electric piano, and I put it in the trunk of the taxi. And I got down there at about 8 o'clock. And I walked in the door of Dorothy's Medallion Lounge, and Dorothy was there. And when you walked in this joint, it was so dark, it took you about half an hour for your eyes to adjust. And Dorothy's in there wearing a pair of shades.
Yeah.
And there was nobody in. And she said, oh, don't worry, baby, you sit down over there. They'll be here soon. So I said, all right. So I put the Wurlitzer electric piano on the stage and sat down. And they had one of those little, they had a jukebox, but they had the little panels by the bench, by the side. So I put a couple of tunes, and there was a Denise LaSalle tune that was popular at the time, and that came on. Don't Mess With My Toot Toot. And that came on, and I sat there and waited, and I sat there and waited, and I sat there and waited, and I fell asleep. And I woke up after about an hour and a half, and there was still nobody in the joint.
Yeah.
A detail you neglected to tell me was that the gig didn't actually start till 2 o'clock in the morning. And Harold, the bass player, Harold turned up at about 1:30, and there was only about 2 people in the place. I'm sure I'm in the right joint. And he walked in with the bass, and I introduced myself. I started playing piano. So I said, all right, cool, nice to meet you. And then the drummer showed up and started setting up his drums. And then you showed up and turned up, and we started playing at 2 o'clock in the morning. And by 5 o'clock in the morning, that joint was packed.
Yep.
Absolutely packed. And I've just got to show people this. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Tell me, Trish, if I'm...
Do it to that camera there. Let's see.
Can you see?
Let me go to. Yeah, go put it up straighter. Yeah, now walk back a little bit. Yeah, now stand on one leg.
Can you
Yeah,
see
lift it up a little bit so you can see the bottom of it. Yeah, there we go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
The Thursday scratched out.
That was
Thursday,
my
Friday,
first gig
Sat-
with Walter Washington.
That's
I stole the poster off the wall in broad daylight.
Yes, Lord. Them was the days, my friend.
Oh, man, we would play there every weekend. And like I said, the joint would be packed at 5 o'clock in the morning. And by that time, your eyes had got accustomed to the light. And, you know, we'd finish playing at 6, and then we'd sit around for about an hour drinking, and then say our farewells, and we'd walk out, and it would be blazing sunlight, and your eyes, I felt like Dracula getting out of the coffin.
You're right about that one, bro. Definitely daylight every night.
Yeah, and by the time I got home after the gig, it was about 10 o'clock in the morning. I went to bed.
What are some
I
of the
slept.
songs that you played on that set?
Well, we'd play a set with Johnny, but Walter would start off. And I was learning. We didn't rehearse or anything, so I was learning these songs on the gig.
Never did, huh?
We never did a single rehearsal. That was the really good training for me. And being and the keys you playing on a piano are not the same as the keys you playing on a guitar. So I was having to learn to play a lot of interesting songs in guitar keys.
Yeah.
And some of Walter's songs had these amazing, I mean, really quite complicated things. Like the. Is that the right key?
Yep. Yep. That's where it started. Yep. Those were my ideas.
I'm trying to remember some of the songs, but we played behind. We'd play for like 7 or 8 tunes, and then Johnny would come up, and Johnny would play "Hell Yes I Cheated,"
All the bad, man.
"I Won't Cry." Can you remember what else he did?
Then it ended with a spiritual.
It was spiritual. He played "Stand By Me." He'd look at his clock and think, "Okay, I've got another 15 minutes. I'll play "Stand By Me," and he would stretch it out.
Remember that night we were playing? He kept saying, "Cut it down, bring 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 it down." I told y'all, I said, "Look, bro, let's go get a drink." So Johnny up there singing, just singing, no band. He just singing. He looked around. "Hey man, what y'all done over there drinking?" I said, "You said cut it down. We couldn't cut it down no longer, so we just stopped playing."
And the other funny thing about that gig too was Big Linda.
Oh, Big Linda. She wanted to shake
Big
dances,
Linda
bro.
was big. Linda was a big girl, and she would get changed in the ladies' restroom. And the stage in this joint is a small, tiny place, Dorothy's Medallion Lounge, right up there on Orleans Avenue, just before you get up to the bayou. And
it's still there too.
the
It's just
building's still there. I
enclosed
know.
now.
I drove
the
past it
building's
the other
still there.
day. Yeah, that's a shame. I wish someone would open it up again.
Yeah, we thought about it.
I heard, yeah. But Linda, she would go in the ladies' restroom to get changed out of her regular clothes into nothing, basically. Got like 2 or 3 tassels.
2 pieces.
Yeah. And she would dance. Well, I think I've seen pictures before where they had a cage where she would dance. But by this point, she would just dance on the front of the stage, and she would dance in between our sets. And the stage was tiny. And you got to understand, there's Walter's guitar amp, his guitar, a bass amp, a keyboard, microphone stands, a whole set of drums on a stage the size of a matchbox.
Yep.
But to get to where she was dancing, she couldn't go out. She had to go between all the instruments. And it was a really spectacular sight to behold, because she would go through and leave a trail of destruction in her wake. With these drums all
That's just
knocked
how
over,
big she
microphone stands going everywhere, complete chaos, everything all knocked over, and there's Big Linda shaking it like there's no
Yep.
tomorrow, chewing gum at the same time, looking really bored, and everybody totally ignored her.
That's
She
true.
was literally the elephant in the room. And
They still remember Big Lip.
yeah. And she'd be up there just looking really bored, chewing gum, just shaking everything she's got, into looking at her watch. And I think the watch was about the only thing she had on, I think.
That's it. That's all you could say.
That was a great gig. Doris's Medallion Lounge.
But
Leo
yeah.
Sachs says, ask Walter about the boa.
The
No?
boa,
The boa.
like the, what
Feather
is
boa,
that?
maybe? I don't know. Boa constrictor? Feather boa?
Feather boa.
Oh, that was a snake we had. This girl used to dance with us. Boca. Yeah, this snake got loose one night and went in the crowd, cleaned the place out. We had this lady, we backed this lady up in the car, and I said, it was something else. He didn't bite her, he was gentle.
One of the songs you used to do that I always really dug, and it's a real standard, but I always thought you had your own special thing, was it? You want to play a bit of a shuffle? Every Day I Have the Blues?
Oh, yeah. That's
What key you do that in?
B flat.
B flat? You want to set it up for me?
Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Every day I have the blues. Every day I have the blues. When you see me worry, it's you I hate to lose. Nobody's worried, nobody seem to care. Nobody's worried, nobody seem to care. Bad luck and trouble, don't you know I had my share? Every day I have the blues.
Every day I have the blues.
Every day, oh, every day I have the blues.
Every day I have the blues.
Man, you see me
Worry, baby.
it's you I hate to lose.
Oh.
pack my suitcase and move on down the line.
Move on, baby.
Gonna pack my suitcase and move on down the line. Nobody's even worried, nobody's even crying. Every day,
Every day,
every day,
every day,
every day,
every day,
I have the blues.
I have the blues.
Every day,
And every day,
every day,
every day,
every day,
every day,
every day,
every day.
every day now I have the blues.
Yeah,
I
man.
like that stove.
Boy, it's good. Boy, it's so good to see you. So nice to hang out and play with another musician, man. We've all been
I
locked
hear you,
up so
babe.
long. It's crazy, isn't it? New Orleans without music. That's ridiculous.
Well, you know, I enjoy when everybody knows the language. You know, a lot of cats. So like we can hear the language, and we know how to speak it.
And we understand each other when we are speaking.
Right on,
it.
my friend, and know how to answer with an understanding of knowing how to project what you feel. You know.
And some musicians, I mean,
You know,
there's lots of.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that, I mean, there's all kinds of good musicians. But it's a very special feeling when you meet somebody who thinks the same way you do. And that's why I think you and I became friends musically when the first time we played together. And we would do this a lot on gigs, I remember, you know. Because when you play a song, there's lots of different ways you can voice a chord. And you have a choice, you know, you can go different ways with it. And there were so many occasions in a song where I would reach for one voicing. You know, it's going by so quick. You make these decisions in a split second. And then you would do exactly the same voice, and the pair of us would go like this. I was like, how did you know I was going to do that? Or how did I know you were going to do that?
Well, we have heard.
That's a special
You see,
thing.
you can hear, once you understand the language of the chords, knowing what a chord means. You know, like a chord.
Play me
if you
some
play a
nice
chord,
chords. Play
say-
some
say for
chords so
instance,
people
if you
demonstrate it for people so they can hear.
Just say like,
Yeah.
okay. Now, some people, they might do that
Mm-hmm.
to go here.
Yeah.
Where some, you know, see,
Yeah.
it's a meaning for each one of those chords.
Exactly.
And most of this is and. You know, you're playing here. That's your
Yeah.
blah blah and. You know,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And we'd make the same. I mean, and there's loads of different choices. You could pick. You could go there.
But if I hear you went there, I know what you're saying. Say it was quite natural. I know where to follow you at in there.
And then when you do play a chord like that, it's loaded with intent
do.
because you know that's so. All right, he played that one, so I bet he's going to play this one next.
Yeah, no,
And then
yeah.
he did.
Yeah. It's
It happened
a
so
beautiful
many
thing.
times with you and me that it was kind of
But
it was
that's
uncanny.
because we understand.
Uh-huh.
We understand. And once you understand, it's easy to follow someone. Especially if you done heard that chord before and you know what it represents.
Yeah. Well, I learnt so much of that stuff from you, and I don't know if I ever actually
Thank
told
you,
you
my
thank
brother.
you for what you showed me.
Thank you.
Because, you know, I started out as a guitar player and
Yeah.
started playing keyboards when I came to New Orleans and was kind of faking it, really.
But you did a good fake, my friend.
But joining your band, it really, you know, it's good for you as a musician to put yourself in a situation where you don't really, you're kind of a little bit in the deep end, you know.
Yeah.
And I had to train my ear. I remember one time we were playing a little joint on Washington Avenue, and because we used to do a bunch of little gigs around
Yeah.
town in the little
Well, that's how
neighborhood
you
bars.
could survive, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't no big money gig, but
No.
if you did enough of them, you could pay your rent and
That's-
get your
that's
groceries
right.
and stuff.
Thank you, Jesus.
And we did a bunch of those gigs. And on one particular night, Harold, the bass player, said, "Man, where did you learn that tune?" I said, "I didn't learn it. That's the first time I've ever heard it. I had to learn it the first time that it went round, the first verse and chorus.
Yeah.
I had to really have learned big ears playing with you because you played all these lovely voicings. Because you played piano chords.
Yeah, somebody else done told me that too.
New Orleans guitar players play like piano players. I thought Snooks used to play like a piano player.
Mhm.
And even Earl King, with some of the things he would play,
Yeah.
were things that are kind of a piano, because it's a piano town, really, isn't it, New Orleans?
Most.
I mean, what guitar players, do you remember guys like Edgar Blanchard and Papoose?
Oh,
and-
yes, Lord Jesus. Papoose was one of my cousins.
Really?
Uh-huh. Just like James and all of them, they're my cousins. On my daddy's side of the family.
I think someone needs to do a New Orleans family tree, because if you're related to Papoose,
Uh-huh.
then you're related to Jesse Hill, too, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you're related to the Nelsons
Yeah.
and the
Yep.
Andrews and the
Definitely.
Lasties.
Uh,
It's like one family in New Orleans that produced all the good musicians. That ain't fair, bro.
I got, when I started finding out these things, man, it just made me feel good to know that. See, my mom didn't play, she sung in the choir.
Yeah.
My dad didn't play no music.
Your dad didn't play at all? Your granddaddy didn't play?
No. I had uncles
Yeah.
that played guitar.
God bless. Let's drink a toast to the uncles, because that's how I learned was my uncles.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, and Hurlin was saying the same thing, because
Yeah.
David Lasty was Hurlin's uncle,
Yeah.
and Melvin Lasty.
Mm.
Well, Walter, I think it's about that time. It's gone by so quick.
Oh, man, for sure.
And man, I could sit, maybe we'll play another tune just to say good night to
wow.
everybody.
We started a little late.
Just to let you know, the tip jar is out there, Venmo and PayPal, and we split it between us, me and Walter. We do this every time we have a guest. So there are no gigs in town, but it's a delight to get to play with someone who considers
It's a
my
treat for me,
brother
too, brother.
and my teacher.
Yeah, it's a treat for me,
And
too.
I'm very proud to call you a friend.
Thank you, my lady. Me, too.
A lot of respect.
Yeah.
A lot of
Always.
respect.
Always, bro. Shit,
We got
always.
a lot of water under that bridge between you and me, bro. Long time, bro. So, thank you everybody for listening. Check out, if you go to the little link on the site, it gives you all the directions. It gives you the link to the new Patreon site too, which you should go and check out, which is a new thing that I've just started up, which is really exciting. What do you want to play to say good night to everybody? You want to play some
you would
blues
like,
or?
I'm your guest. You call it, though.
I feel like just playing some blues and just hearing you play and do what you do, and we just play
Let's do
some
that,
nice
man.
chords. You want to just do it?
What key you inside?
Let's play one in C. How's that for
No,
you?
that's great.
Let me set it up.
Got it.
boy, I really needed that, Walter. I needed that.
Yeah,
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it.
Oh, I enjoyed it, baby.
Let's do it again. You want to do another one of these days? Because we just scratched the surface. But I got so many questions I wanted to ask you.
Just let me know when.
I wanted to ask you about Eddie Bow. I wanted to talk to you about Alvin Robinson. I
Oh, man,
wanted to
there's so
talk.
much we could
Oh,
talk
boy.
about.
Well,
man.
we'll do it again. This is episode 1. The Walter Washington saga, episode 1. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right.
And see you on Thursday for the early Quarantini hour, which goes out to the European fans at around 8 o'clock their time. And 1 o'clock our time here in New Orleans. And then the piano lesson thing on Saturdays. And once again, thank you, everybody, for your generous tips as you go stampeding towards the tip jar. Pockets brimming with millions of $100 bills, throwing them at us in a virtual sort of way. We very much appreciate it. See you soon. Cheers. Thank you all. Anything I've forgotten to mention, Trish, or is that?
No, you got all
I got it all.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. Damn, Walter, we still got so many songs to play and so many stories to tell.
Oh, man, you know, we could do it.
Next time, we'll do it again soon. We got plenty of time. Trust me, none of us have got any gigs or tours coming up
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
for a little minute. So, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Good night to you. Yeah, Walter, boy, that was a lot of fun.
Like I said, that's